Ephesians 4:14-16. Then we will no longer be children, tossed by the waves and blown around by every wind of teaching, by human cunning with cleverness and the techniques of deceit. But speaking the truth in love, let us grow in every way into Him who is the head, Christ. From Him the whole body, fitted and knit together by every supporting ligament, promotes the growth of the body for building itself up in love by the proper working of each individual part. The first word we're going to look at is then. The previous verses talk about all the different offices, positions, responsibilities inside the church. And when those are working in unity, it leads to the mutual growth of the believers and the mutual growth of the church. So when they're operating, maturity comes, and that's why there's no longer spiritual children. One of the biggest responsibilities of the church is to teach believers a well-rounded understanding of the Bible, and not only just the themes, but how to apply them to their own individual lives. The other thing we're going to look at is the words waves and wind. It's interesting, those words actually go back and are throwback to the same words, the same phraseology that was seen in the Sea of Galilee. When you look at the Sea of Galilee, it talks about how the winds and the waves were throwing the boat around and everything like that. What it's saying is when there's not these offices operating, when there's not spiritual maturity, you're just thrown around back and forth, back and forth. And it's interesting, if you look at the Greek wording, it actually refers to spiritual activity that may have been the root for that violent storm on the Sea of Galilee, especially in this way, where it's tossed by the waves and blown around by every wind of teaching. It definitely lends itself to the idea that this is a spiritual deception. It goes on even further. The next word we're going to look at is techniques of deceit. So it said, tossed by the winds and blown around by every wind of teaching, by human cunning with cleverness in the techniques of deceit. And the idea there is trick dice. You've seen in maybe a movie where someone is playing a game or gambling and the dice continue to roll a specific number. It's cheating. It's trick dice. It's set up for the person to fail. And that's the same by human cunning with cleverness in the techniques of deceit. When someone's pursuing spirituality, when someone's pursuing spiritual experience or metaphysics, that type of thing, has the same idea. It's going to get that person hurt, and it's a deception. The other word we're going to look at here is speaking. Speaking the truth in love. We need to teach every believer, to treat each believer, the deceived and the deceiver. That's how we're supposed to treat them. That we speak the truth in love, not just to other believers, not just to unbelievers, but also to the ones who are doing the deceiving. It's firmly planted in saying, hey, this is wrong. I have to stand up and say, hey, this is not true. What you're saying is not true. It's damaging. It's that kind of approach, but it's done in love. Hey, I'm not backing down. This is definitely the truth, but I want you to know it's not personal. And that applies to other believers. That applies to the teachers. That applies to the deceived and the deceivers as well. So then we move on and we say, let us grow. Let us grow. The idea is that a body is nourished and growing, and it's healthy, and that it's proportionate. It says, let us grow in every way. A church is supposed to be a group of believers who are all growing, who are all active, who are all involved. And that's the responsibility of the church, is to develop believers and to grow believers so that they individually can go out into their jobs or whatever they have and make more disciples and then bring them in, and then they grow up. It says, let us grow in every way into Him who is the head, Christ. Each part is supposed to be growing, supposed to be healthy. The other word we're going to look at is this: the whole body. Leaders and believers working together. So from him, the whole body, fitted and knit together by every supporting ligament. This has the idea of good coordination. You know, you see somebody who's an athlete and they have just really good coordination, that they're really coordinated, jumping, running, basketball, football, whatever it may be, whatever the sport, very good coordination. And that's the way the body of believers are supposed to be. They're supposed to be good coordination, and they're supposed to work well together. And the next is promotes the growth of the body for building itself in love. Love for leaders, love for believers, love for non-believers, love for the deceived, the deceivers. And we look at all of this. We say, okay, what do I do with all of this? We say, am I growing? And we go back here. Let us grow. Ask yourself, am I growing closer to God? And am I growing in my understanding of who He is as revealed through the Bible? And the best part is, you can ask Him, and He'll help you, and He'll speak to you through the power of the Holy Spirit. Say, God, I don't want to be a child anymore. I want to grow in my understanding of you, understanding of this world picture of the Bible and who you are and what you've been doing throughout history. God, I want to grow, and He will never let you down when you sincerely ask Him for help.